Hi everyone, Materim here again with another RPG talk. And this will be just a quick video. I wanted to share my worst player experience ever. And by that I mean the worst experience I as a DM have ever had with a player in my game. Um, I like sharing these kind of stories because I think it unites a lot of us, particularly folks who are maybe new DMs to understand you just get bad apples sometimes. um, but this particular story that I'd like to tell today took place with when I was in college. I had been running a D&D game for this particular group for a better part of a year and a half, and we were playing off campus at the rented house of three of the players. And I probably shouldn't use shouldn't use real names, but in either case, the player we're going to talk about, let's just go ahead and call him John. Um, so John was never great in terms of getting into his character. He was very much focused on the mechanics, the power gaming side of things. And for the record, I don't run a tough campaign, not one that I really think is like a meat grinder or a character killer. But I do expect my players to play intelligently. And if you do stupid stuff, if you don't think, if you don't plan, you're going to reap the consequences of those actions. And everybody seemed to understand this and was on board, and everything was good. And he brings in this new character that just has really solid stats. I mean, nothing like, I mean, it wasn't 18s across the board, but I mean, I think the lowest thing he got was 14s. And this was before I started requiring all of my players to roll in front of me. Um, but we sit down for this session, and one of the other players who lives there comes up to me and before the game and says, "Hey, just wanted to let you know John bought some loaded dice." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, we were at the game store. He bought some trick dice, the kind that have the high numbers on two different sides. So instead of having, like, there's no ones on any of his dice, they're all extra." And I was like, "Oh, all right. Um, can you give me the heads up if you see him use them in the game?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can do that." And so I start the game off with just kind of a random offhanded comment about my zero tolerance policy for cheating of any sort. And I've always held that policy. I personally think this is a game where you get together with your friends, you try and tell a story, you try and have fun. And frankly, if you're going to go out of the way for an illegal benefit like cheating dice, yeah, that's super lame, and you should not put up with that, period. So I just made it an off comment. I didn't come out and throw down on anybody. And so the game starts. And we're actually having a pretty good time. Whatever. And it's a good game. We're getting a good story told. And halfway through the session, during a fight, this particular player, John, is starting to have a little bit of trouble. And he switches his dice out. And the player who warned me about it gave me the high sign. And we do finish off the combat. And, of course, John starts rolling considerably better. So after the combat, I ask John if I can see his dice. And he's like, he obviously realizes the jig is up. And so he's kind of reluctant. But eventually he hands me the dice, and I look at them, and they're cheat dice. Just no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Not even really, not even really good. I mean, I guess he could have, like, if he really wanted to cheat and not get caught, he could have, like, microwaved them or done something else. Got weighted dice instead of the ones that are so blatant. In terms of just removing those low numbers and replacing them with the high numbers. As a side note, I've always wondered why game stores at the time carried those dice. I mean, what was the point with that? Our local game store carried them, and I was like, what? That makes no sense whatsoever. But at any rate, so I told him, I was like, man, I went over this not 2 hours ago. Zero tolerance. You're out. And I told him he's done. Because I got no patience for that. I don't want to play with cheaters. Nobody else in the group wanted to play with cheaters. So I was just like, man, you're done. And I guess I wouldn't have been so pissed off about it, except when I asked him, like, why are you doing this? His response was, well, I need an edge to survive in your games. Like, he's putting it on me for running a game that's too hard, that he's got to cheat. And I'm like, well, you know what? None of the other 5 players feel the need to do that. So I told him he was gone. He was done. I got no time for that. Of course, this brought up a very unusual problem because we were basically playing in his house, him and the 2 other players that were living there. So I kind of expected that was going to be the end of the night, and we were going to pack up and go. But so he just storms out, and I'm like, all right, well, if he's going to leave, we'll be fine. And the other 2 players who lived there said, no, it's all right, we'll keep playing. And so we continued to play. And the house had, like, the front door was, it looked like it was like the back door of most houses, like a patio door where it was like wood on the outside, but it was like 9 different windows and they had blinds over it. And so we're starting to play, and not 2 minutes later, I see his form, like, through the blinds on the front porch. And we played for another 5.5 hours with him sitting on the porch staring daggers at us through the blinds. And so I'm like, you know what? I asked the players again whose house it was. It's like, are we cool to play here? I don't want him to feel... I mean, he's obviously not welcome because I'm not going to put up with cheaters. But I don't want to feel bad. And they're like, yeah, he'll be fine. He'll just get over it. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So game ends, we leave, everybody walks past him because he's still sitting on the front porch staring daggers at us after 5.5 hours later, mind you. And we go home and throughout that week, and so I get contacted by the player who gave me the heads up about him cheating, and he was like, man, I guess he took it harder than I thought, because after y'all left, he came in and sat in the chair you were DMing in and stayed awake all night just staring in the darkness. And I was just like, holy crap. And so over the next few weeks, this crap about me being spread around through the university's science fiction and fantasy club that I was tangentially a part of. And turns out that because he, I guess, was very angry at being caught at his cheating and kicked out of the game, he decided to resort to essentially spreading bullcrap and lies and stuff, and just, I mean, the most outrageous crap you've ever seen. And it actually, for a little while, made it hard to find other players, because, I mean, this guy was just absolutely trashing me, the group. I mean, just talking bullcrap. But I guess the whole point of telling this story is just to say there are some folks out there who get way too into this. And so first thing to learn, if you're getting into role playing and or if you've been in it a long time and are just trying to find players and you want to know how to filter them out, is you got to understand that this is a game. This is to have fun, to blow a weekend night, to tell a story, to do a good time, don't get too upset about it. Don't get too engaged where you feel, first of all, you feel that you got to cheat. I mean, that's some grade A bullshit right there. But beyond that, if something goes wrong and you get outed from a game, I mean, be the bigger man. Don't go and spread bullshit. Find another game, or if you can't run one yourself, find players. It's a game. It's designed to have fun, and just keep it cool. I mean, that really should be the rule for any role player. Keep it cool and have fun with your buds, and don't be a problem. But anyway, as a sort of interesting addendum, years pass, and the some of the old school folks do various podcasts and whatnot, and one of them that I really like is Thaco's Hammer. It does second edition AD&D talk, and they had a contest to talk about your worst role playing experience, and whoever would had the best would win a set of the Monster Manual, the Player's Handbook, and the DM's Guide from 2nd edition, all signed by Steve Winter, who was one of the designers. So I told this story there, and I ended up winning a set of books for it. So I guess it all worked out, at least for me in the end. But that particular player, John, moved away shortly after, and I hadn't heard about him in years. The last thing I did hear about, though, is that he had started up his own group. I mean, he held this grudge against me for years. He started up his own group where he started playing on my homebrew world. Now, this is the world I've been playing with since sophomore year in high school, so I had a lot there. For the express purpose of running a game where the players went through and killed all of the important NPCs of the world. So it was like, really, man? You can't be man enough to come and talk to me, but you're going to go through my world and specifically to kill all the NPCs. So, any rate, that was the worst player I've ever had. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was an entertaining story, if not educational. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I'll be more than happy to get to them. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll catch you next time.